It's the 27th of March, 1999. The cockpit shudders as the F-117 slips just beneath the low cloud layer. Pale green light from the control panel reflects off the visor, bringing the steady stream of numbers into sharp focus in front of Darrell Zelko. Rain drums hard against the aircraft's skin. In his headset, there is only static. No escort flies alongside him. A controller's voice cuts in.
Vega 31, maintain current altitude.
Zelko answers briefly. Roger. He holds his heading, pressing the aircraft tightly along the assigned corridor. The warning tone sounds without notice. Red lights flare. On the display, a target lock indicator appears and holds. Zelko looks up. The clouds ahead flash for an instant, as if something has just torn through the darkness. Vega 31, check your warning.
Vega 31, check your warning.
Zelko banks slightly to hold speed and altitude. The warning does not clear. The space ahead seems to narrow. Somewhere below, someone has just decided not to let this opportunity pass. Darrell Zelko is a lieutenant colonel in the United States Air Force, flying an F-117 Nighthawk on a night strike mission in late March 1999. He is alone, flying low along a pre-approved corridor over Serbian airspace. Bad weather blankets the region. Heavy rain and low clouds compress visibility into a narrow envelope, forcing the flight to adhere precisely to parameters set well before takeoff. Zelko's mission allows little variation. Approach the target along the assigned route, open the bomb bay at the calculated moment, release guided ordnance on a military command facility near Belgrade, then exit along an approved escape path. It is a mission profile he has flown repeatedly in recent weeks, using the same aircraft, the same procedures, and under a level of risk deemed acceptable. Before takeoff, a mission coordination officer emphasized the constraints that could not be violated. The route could not be altered. Altitude had to remain within the prescribed limits. There would be no diversion options once the mission entered its final phase. These were not suggestions, but conditions required to keep the rest of the plan intact. The F-117 was designed for missions exactly like this. Its angular shape and radar-absorbing coating reduced detection, allowing it to penetrate hostile airspace without direct escort in the final phase. Zelko's safety depends on the assumption that air defense systems below cannot maintain continuous tracking. At this moment, he knows only that he is in the correct position, at the correct time, following the correct sequence. The limits have already been set. The only remaining option is to continue along the plan. Before takeoff, everything is presented as a familiar, proven routine. The flight plan is locked by the tactical coordination system. The approach corridor, altitude, bomb bay timing, and exit route have all been approved in advance and cannot be adjusted once the mission begins. A control officer reiterates this during the final check. Stay en route. No changes once you enter the final phase. It is not advice, it is a constraint. Bad weather is considered a useful layer of cover. Thick clouds and heavy rain reduce ground visibility, interfere with optical sensors, and force many air defense systems to operate under degraded conditions. In previous missions, these same conditions have allowed the F-117 to reach its target without leaving a clear signature. For Zelko, this is part of the familiar illusion of stability. The F-117 carries the minimum payload for a single target. There are no defensive weapons, no decoys, no counterattack options. The aircraft's design places all safety on avoiding detection. That reality forces the pilot to fly with precision. No excess movement, no flexibility beyond the plan. Any deviation risks breaking the chain of assumptions the mission depends on. Inside the cockpit, the displays remain stable. No warnings, no abnormal signals. The navigation system holds the aircraft precisely within the corridor. The coordination system confirms all parameters are within limits. These confirmations do not create absolute confidence, but they sustain the familiar rhythm of the flight. Zelko focuses on the memorized checkpoints. The moment to open the bomb bay is approaching. He knows that once this phase begins, options will be locked by procedure itself. There will be no detours, no major adjustments. Everything is designed to unfold smoothly, as long as no external factor intervenes. At this point, the sense of stability still holds. Pressure has not yet made itself explicit. The constraints are in place, but they have not been tested. The feeling of control lasts just long enough to obscure the possibility that a variable outside the plan is drawing closer. The change does not arrive as a clear failure. It begins as small deviations, noticeable but not yet enough to break procedure. Bad weather persists longer than forecast, forcing Zelko to maintain a lower altitude than optimal. The mission does not stop, but the F-117 is pushed closer to the ground, where every margin of safety is reduced. A brief system message confirms the flight corridor remains valid. No adjustments are requested, no alternatives are offered. Zelko continues according to plan, even as tolerance for error narrows. Every control input now demands greater precision, because any deviation could compromise the aircraft's stealth profile. Below, a Serbian air defense unit begins a sequence prepared over many months. Radar is not left on continuously. It is activated in short bursts, long enough to scan the sky before shutting down again. Each transmission carries risk, but also the rare chance to catch a signal they have waited for night after night. The screen is filled with interference from rain and clouds, yet within the noise, a faint trace appears, disappears, then appears again along the same trajectory. In the cockpit, Zelko does not see that trace. What he notices is an unusual stretch of silence. No warnings, no lock indications, but the pace of the flight seems to slow in a way that was never programmed. The countdown approaches the moment to open the bomb bay, locking the next sequence in place. A short update from coordination confirms the final phase has begun. Hold route. Continue. The message eliminates remaining flexibility. Zelko can no longer alter course without collapsing the entire plan behind him. He makes a slight adjustment to hold altitude, feeling the aircraft respond more sluggishly under unstable atmospheric conditions. On the ground, a decision is made within a narrow time window. Fire control radar is activated once. No clear lock. Activated again, the signal flickers, just enough to confirm direction. Every second increases the risk of counter-detection, but the opportunity is directly overhead. Zelko enters the bomb bay sequence. For a few brief seconds, the structure optimized for stealth changes. Radar cross-section increases slightly, not much, but enough to sharpen the signal below. It is the moment when two independent chains of decisions intersect without either side fully aware of the other. Below, the signal stabilizes. There is no longer doubt about the track. The launch order is given as soon as the window allows. Two missiles leave the launcher almost simultaneously, climbing into the night and cutting through rain and cloud in brief streaks of light. In the cockpit, Zelko completes the release. The aircraft's weight shifts subtly as the payload drops away. The target below ignites. By all mission criteria, the strike phase is complete. He transitions to the escape route, climbing within permitted limits. The warning follows immediately. Not a fleeting alert, but a sustained target lock. A short system message confirms the threat. Zelko looks ahead and sees flashes of light in the clouds. Two objects are closing rapidly. The F-117 carries no decoys, no countermeasures. Coordination offers no evasive option. The constraints remain in place. All Zelko can do is fly within limits, adjusting his trajectory just enough to buy time. The first missile streaks past the cockpit and does not detonate. For an instant, the distance feels sufficient. Then the second approaches from another angle and explodes near the left wing. Metal fragments tear through the airframe, destroying balance in an instant. The F-117 begins to spin violently. Control response becomes sluggish and unreliable. Warnings overlap without offering new choices. G-forces build with each rotation, crushing Zelko into his seat. Altitude falls faster than recovery allows. A final system message confirms loss of control. No configuration remains viable. No repair is possible. Options vanish second by second. As the aircraft continues to spin in darkness, Zelko understands that the next phase no longer belongs to plans or procedures. It is a survival decision waiting to be triggered. The F-117 spins through the darkness, each rotation heavier than the last. Zelko is pinned to his seat, G-forces pressing into his shoulders and chest, shortening his breath. Warnings continue, but they no longer offer solutions. They only confirm that the aircraft has passed every recoverable limit. Zelko makes one final attempt on the controls. The response is weak and inconsistent. The left wing can no longer generate sufficient lift. Altitude continues to drop. In his headset, the system issues a short, cold confirmation of loss of control. No further guidance follows. No backup procedure exists. The message offers no command, but it removes all remaining options. In the few seconds that remain, Zelko weighs the last possibilities. Staying in the cockpit means ground impact in an unrecoverable spin. There is no time to correct, no altitude to try again. Ejecting means descending into enemy territory in heavy rain, with no certainty of survival after landing. A broken transmission from the controller cuts in. Not an order, just a status acknowledgement. Stable signal lost. The brief statement closes the final hesitation. It does not urge action. It simply records reality. G-forces surge again. His body begins to resist movement. Zelko knows that if he waits longer, his arms will no longer have the strength to complete the motion. He raises his hands, finds the ejection handles in the cramped, shaking cockpit. He pulls. The canopy blasts away with a sharp detonation. The ejection seat fires, ripping him from the aircraft in a violent surge. For a brief instant, there is no sensation of falling, no orientation. Then the silence of the night sky closes in, marking the point beyond which there is no return. The parachute opens in the rain with a jolt strong enough to disorient Zelko for several seconds. When the descent stabilizes, he sees fire in the distance, where the F-117 is breaking apart on the ground. Fragments glow briefly, then fade, leaving a wide stretch of darkness with no movement. There is no second explosion, no sign the aircraft remains intact. The reality arrives before fear. He is alive. The aircraft is not. Zelko hits the ground in a waterlogged field, rolls, and lies still. He hears engines in the distance, short shouted phrases, sounds that do not belong to the sky. He cuts away the parachute, drags himself into a shallow ditch, and covers his body with mud to break his outline. In the darkness, figures move. Flashlights sweep low, pause, then move on. The search has begun. Not hurried, but methodical, like a tightening loop. Elsewhere, radio signals are logged. A-U-S. Search and rescue team receives an estimated position and begins preparation. There is no promise of safety, only time passing and distance closing. For hours, Zelko remains motionless, listening to every small change in sound. Each pause in footsteps could be the end. When contact is established, communication is brief. No reassurance, only confirmation and timing. The helicopter approaches low through the rain, rotor noise tearing through the night and shattering the fragile concealment. Light flares for a few seconds. Zelko leaves the ditch, runs toward the signal, and is pulled aboard as activity below accelerates. The helicopter departs immediately, without waiting for further confirmation. Afterward, the wreckage of the F-117 is collected. Pieces are laid on tarps, tagged, photographed. No longer functional, no longer whole. The aircraft never flies again. The event is recorded in reports, timestamps, and numbers. Zelko returns to base in silence. The night ends without a declaration of victory. What remains is a single, cold fact. Something designed not to be seen was seen, and once was enough.